The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Terry's dad was a judge in Georgia for years, and he used to come home after just a frustrating day of ridiculous cases. This is in the 70s, and he would say, I wish I could swear out lunacy warrants because I would need the biggest crate of those to distribute around after days like this. So Terry and I always laugh of, we need to issue some lunacy warrants, and boy, we need to issue a bunch of them right now.
All right, I'm still rolling. Take it away, man. I've got some ideas, some things, but I'm going all.
Well, maybe these will intertwine because we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. But I had a really interesting experience Saturday night that I kind of wanted to get your reaction to because I think it's kind of along the lines of a lot of the things we kind of skirt around a lot.
Okay, great. Awesome. Go ahead. You're rolling.
All right. So, Tony, Saturday night, I retire after a long day of Kentucky Derby and horse racing and watching my predictions come up a quarter of an inch short as Sierra Leone made his big run down the stretch and missed by not even 6 inches, 3 or 4 inches at the wire. I love being right, and I basically guaranteed that Chad Brown, one of his 2 horses, or Brad Cox, the other trainer that has not officially, he's been given credit for a Derby. Anyway, after that grueling experience of a long day, I also debuted a new radio program here in town on WJOX at 8:00 on Saturday morning. So by about midnight, I was done. Yeah. Stick a fork in me. I watched the Braves lose 11-2 to the Dodgers. It was, I should have gone for a walk in the forest instead of spending the entire day of frustrating sports events. But I go to bed and I went pretty much right to sleep. But I had an experience that I don't remember. Maybe it's happened to me before, but I had a very interesting experience. And I don't know if it was a dream. I don't know if it was deep inside my own personal that this thing just came out psychologically. But I woke up as I frequently do at 3:30 or 4 in the morning, because at this age, nature calls a lot. Yes. And requires you to stagger into the adjoining room and take care of some business. And as I sat up to do that, which is kind of reflexive, it's the strangest thing. I either was thinking about what I just was dreaming or I said it out loud. I'm not sure, but it was a phrase that I've never heard before. I've never uttered before. And it's really been on my mind now for the last day and a half. But all I said, and I think I said it out loud, I said, follow your talent. Now, I wanted to get your thoughts on that, because was that an internal message from me? Was that somebody from beyond in the heavens to give me a message they thought I needed? Because I think I'm a person that functions a lot on my logical mind, but I'm also driven a lot by my passions and my heart and all the things, follow your passion, listen to your heart, embrace your desires. I think I've been influenced by that, but think about that phrase where the hell did that come from? Follow your talent. And is that a message that I was getting that, hey, at this point of your life, because I have a lot of sad and kind of unhappy moments where I feel isolated and I just feel like I'm out of the mainstream of regular life. I'm so appreciative of your network and my other outlets to have a chance to express myself and kind of shout from the mountaintops, I'm Kip Keefer and I'm still here. And here's what I think, whether anybody cares about what I think. But what do you react? How's your reaction when I say the phrase, follow your talent?
No, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think, and we can speak very vividly and judiciously about this, because you and I are kind of in the same boat. We've got about the same number of years of talent in the radio business and the television business. And not to mention, of course, we love our sports, and we're also about the same age, and we both are divorced and both have children. So we're a lot alike in a lot of different ways. And I feel that sense of isolation as well, of having just been divorced about 4 years ago. I don't take dreams, psychological, philosophical things like that happen to me in my life lightly. I think when you're having a dream when you're 25, it means a lot different stuff than when you're 55. There are also parts of my dream sequence, and it's almost cyclical, where I will have dreams about things that are totally outside my subconscious that I don't even know why they would be in my brain. I've got things that are usually, and this is what most people I think dream about. 90% of people dream about things that are just outside their subconscious, something that may have happened 3 or 4 months ago that they haven't really thought about, but is tucked back in a little wallet back in your brain. It's utilized by some type of brain current, and somehow put in with 4 or 5 other different weird things. And that's why you have a dream about riding a roller coaster at Six Flags, sitting next to a dinosaur, and seeing your old girlfriend eating a popcorn shake or something. All these different things come together to try to create this weird story. And so when someone says something like "follow your talent," I think it's more of a subconscious thing, because I can actually I've actually gone through some times in my life where I can actually dream what I want to dream about. I don't know if you've ever had this, where I could, right before I go to bed, I could just infiltrate my brain with everything that I want to think about, I want to dream about, and for the most part, for a period of time anyway, I would actually dream about those things. It wouldn't be exactly what I wanted to dream about. Like, I'm not going to watch a porno film in hopes to have a wet dream later that night. That didn't work. I tried, by the way. It doesn't work.
It worked when I was 16.
Yeah, exactly. But
I didn't consciously go into it with that
yeah,
agenda.
Exactly. And that was probably better to know it wasn't coming as opposed to it actually coming itself. And my mom still couldn't figure out what happened. She just thought I went to bed. Anyway,
Yeah, I thought I needed to go to the hospital.
exactly. My whole thought process here though is when I fall asleep in my chair, I inevitably will have some type of thought subconsciously, or some type of dream sequence that has to do with what I'm watching on television. I can hear it in the background. And I know for a fact that I talk in my sleep because I do it almost every night. And my daughter has taken videos of me just talking in my dreams, and talking so much so that it actually wakes me up, and I'll be mid-sentence and I'll go, what was that all about? I think when you're talking about your talent, I forget the apostle that was it Paul, the one that broke down the dreams in the Bible. I'm not going to say that I can decipher dreams. I will say this: I think right now in your life, and I only know this because you've shared it with me, that I think you've got more going on right now in your life that you are into, that you are passionately seeking, that you're enjoying, that you feel like you're actually moving the needle a little bit, because you're doing so many different things media wise, and you're doing so many different things personal wise with you and your family. And I think all those wonderful things are kind of come to the top. And I think this is just a something that maybe you've thought in the back of your brain: follow your talent, do what you do well. I've seen that talent. That's why I reached out to you a couple of years ago and said, listen, I'd love for you to be on Tony Curry Radio. I for the life of me, can't figure out why a Talk 99.5 wouldn't have you on every single day, just because I think you could talk at your ass for 45 or 50 minutes. Amazing. I've never seen anybody.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody, when you just said, I've just touched a third of what I wanted to say, I was thinking to myself, okay, go into the 3 hours, man, because I want to hear the rest of it. So I see that in you. And I don't think people realize just how incredibly in depth and difficult it is to have your mouth moving that fast, that long, without losing track of where you're at. It's amazing. And you're in your 50s. It's just something that I revel in. And I wish I had that talent. It's just an amazing thing. I have to have notes in front of me, and I have to know exactly where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. And you can just talk. And that's why whenever we do the show, usually you and I will speak a couple days before, and we'll go, what do you want to talk about on the show? And you'll say, well, I want to talk about this. And we usually go back and forth. Well, the last couple of weeks, we just open the mic, we just start talking.
Yeah.
And we've gotten the best numbers we've ever had. People are listening to us. I think they enjoy the fact that we're just sitting here, just, talking. And I think that's sometimes what a great show or a great podcast can be. And so I think for me anyway, just based on what I know about you, is a God wink. That is a tap on your shoulder. That is you've got this and I've got you. I love that saying. You've got this, I've got you. God saying, hey, follow your talent, keep doing what you're doing, and good stuff is not only here, but it's more stuff's on the way. More blessings are coming your way.
Well, I mean, I appreciate all of your unbelievably kind words. It's very humbling coming from a guy I consider to be the prototype professional broadcast entity. Because don't sell yourself short, my friend. You are the co-star of I haven't even counted, but it's got to be 12 or 13, maybe 15 different programs on your radio station. And it's all across the board from pet issues to, of course, one of your great specialties, rock and music and performers, all of the great network of folks you have. So for you to have that kind of range, again, don't sell Tony Kurre short, because you are a phenomenal talent in what you do and how you can acclimate to any situation. And even this show with Keefer and Kurre, because you had no idea where I was going to go with this today.
Wow.
I do want to say real quick, you mentioned dreams, and I know this had to have emanated from some kind of dream. You know, the recurring dream I have, Tony, and maybe again, this is a God shot to kind of put things back on course for me. I have this dream all the time, and it's not the same dream, but it's always the same theme, that I'm finally getting to do something that I just desperately want to do. I'm getting to play Augusta National, for instance, and I'll arrive and I'll get to the tee box and I'll start looking for my clubs, and they're not there. They're back in the clubhouse. So I have to run back, and I go down a hallway and I start going in rooms, and I can't find the locker room or the storage area. Next thing you know, I'm in somebody's basement. Frequently, a childhood friend of mine, Jim Hevern, he had a family of 7 kids. I wind up back at his house in this big communal kind of thing. I always get on the brink of getting to do something that I really want to do, and then I get sidetracked and lost, and I don't get to do it. And that's got to be and any number of circumstances, whether it's a sporting opportunity, it's a big speech I'm going to be able to address a giant hall. It's always something that I aspire to do, that I get it gets in Barney Fife language, it gets nipped in the bud at the last second because of some kind of stupid detail, and I get completely sidetracked and lost. And maybe I was having one of those kind of dreams, and I like to think that this was a heavenly intercession to say, look, you got to stop worrying about all the things that you feel like you would really love to do and are being denied doing. I think people that say, again, I think the powerful things in this, Tony, are, they listen to your heart, follow your dreams, embrace your desires. All that stuff is great, but you're not completely in control of those things. Where accentuating and using the God-given gifts you have is something you are in control of, and all you have to do for that is to find some outlets and some ears, and people like you and some others have given me that opportunity. And I was amazed too. I'll tell you this real quick. I'm dominating the airwaves here,
right.
But I was amazed when I Googled this morning. I Googled follow your talent. And there's an actual book named Follow Your Talent, which is talking about a lot of these same themes that just dawned on me. And I promise you, I had no way of knowing that there was even a phrase out there like that. And it makes sense because I think we could do a 5-hour discussion on what that exactly means. But it's given me kind of a fresh perspective today that I'm going to start just becoming obsessively committed to doing just that. I do have a talent, and I really want to display it, and maybe that's my purpose in this stage of my life.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Love it.
Say that prayer probably 15, 20 times a day. You're right. We have absolutely no control over people, places, and things in our lives. We can certainly push things in the directions we want them to go, but we don't know what his master plan is for us. I'm not going to get all biblical here on us, but you know where my heart is with Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And the minute I surrendered everything in my life, including this business, as soon as I gave it up and said, listen, I'm going to be your soldier. I'm going to do everything I can to put myself in the right position to be a mover and a shaker in your world, not my world. Just please place me in the right places so I can be successful and I can feed my family. Everything started falling in place. Everything fell in place. And every time I started getting full of shit, started getting an ego again, and started trying to take some of those things back, it blew up in my face every time.
That's
so
amazing.
What do they say about, good Christian politics, whatever they say, once you surrender, that's when you're victorious, and we're not taught in certainly war terms that you should ever surrender. Don't ever, and I'm not talking about never quitting. I'm not talking about not trying. I'm not talking about being passionate. But what I'm saying is realize and give it up to God and realize that it's his plan. He already knows how it's going to go. He knew it before you were even born. And so allow him to do his work in your life. That's all I'm saying. You are in a rapids, you're going down the Ocoee River, you're by yourself and you got a paddle and you're paddling furiously on one or two sides and you don't know where you're paddling to. You're just paddling. In the meanwhile, he's got the big rudder in the back and he's like, pull your oar in, stick your feet under the boat and chill out. We've had enough stories in the Bible about Jesus being in the big boat. Remember Jesus taking the nap, falling asleep, and everyone's like, are you going to let us die? And he's like, will you please let me take a nap and chill out? I've got this. That's what you got to do in life. You got this. You just got to chill out. You brought up something that was really interesting. My mom used to give me cards all the time. And she used to give me a card for every year of my birthday. So when I turned 17, she gave me 17 birthday cards. And she'd give them to me on different days. She'd sign every card. This kind of goes along with your follow your talent. She used to sign every one of my cards with, you're going to be great someday. And she started doing that when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And I really never knew what it meant. I knew it was nice. And I thought that's sweet. And basically and I don't know where she ever got it from, but she signed every card, every letter she ever wrote me, hundreds, with you're going to be great someday. And even after I thought that I was great, I was full of it. I'm sitting on a billboard and I've got the LA Times out doing stories on me. I'm on NBC Nightly News. I'm up at ESPN. I'm on 700 radio stations at one time for a week. I turned down a job to go work at ESPN. You're going to be great someday. I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'm already great. And I thought that in every facet of my job, even when I was 21 or 22 and I was number one in the market in Louisville, Kentucky, I thought, okay, this is it, baby. I mean, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life and I'm great. And I was so full of it. I needed to be humbled. I needed to be humbled so fiercely and so vivaciously that I didn't even see it. And of course, we get ego. We have success in life and we think it's all us. And I've given it all up to the Lord and I've realized that everything that's happened in my life, good, bad, and indifferent, that just because it's good or bad doesn't mean it's not a blessing. Everything that happens in my life is a blessing. Even the bad things that happen in my life, I realize, hey, listen, I know this is going to turn into a blessing and such. And when you think that way, everything does turn into a really good thing. You start putting silver linings, not even silver linings, but the whole thing turns silver. And I always think, and I have not signed my cards to my kids that way, but she instilled that you're going to be great someday. What that told me, though, and I had this discussion with her before she died. She had Alzheimer's. She passed away about 12 years ago. She wanted to make sure I knew that I was never at the top of the mountain and that I always had more to go and I could always grow more spiritually, with God and Jesus, my Lord Savior, and my Holy Spirit. She said you could always grow your faith, you could always grow your talent, you could always learn more from someone else. I've always learned to do the best I could to network with great individual people. You ever talk to someone who's really, really smart? And I do this with you because I consider you very, very intelligent. I always feel better about myself when I hang out with people like you because I learned something and I feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself. And I think that's really important. So you're going to be great someday. And I keep telling myself that because you're only as good as your last show. You're only as good as your last day. And there's always, the sky's always the limit. And I really believe that I think that maybe hearing this follow your talent, that's just God's way of saying, don't give up. I got this bigger, better thing. You got pretty good right now. There's a lot of people that mail it in your situation, my friend. I got news for you. They'd say, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to go kick back at the beach for the rest of my life. And you're getting after it, man. You're doing everything you can to put yourself in a position to be successful in what you love to do. And that will come into fruition. The seed's been planted. It will grow for you. I promise. It'll happen.
It makes me think of one of the great cliches of all time with what you just talked about. And that is men make plans, God laughs, which I think is very apropos. I don't want to quote some of the great cinematic achievements of all time, but Forrest Gump's final soliloquy in that movie, while the feathers floating on the breeze, about destiny and who's right, his mama or Lieutenant Dan. He comes to the conclusion, I think they're both right. That life is happenstance, but you are here. Life does have a purpose. We all do have a destiny, and we need to embrace that the best way we can. And maybe the whole follow the talent thing is a good indicator of just remembering Jerry Maguire when he wakes up at the beginning of the movie and I have to write this mission statement.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe follow your talent is my mission statement that's been given from the highest authority possible. That's the way I'm going to embrace it. So I appreciate anybody who listens to my ideas, my opinions. I try to be base that not on just ideology, but I talked about in today's Need to Know the absolute necessity to have some understanding of how we've arrived at the point where we are. And I just can't believe I even mentioned my own sons say, "Oh, we don't like history, it's boring, yuck." And those are Kip Keefer's products, who are so much like me in so many other ways. But I really think that step back, think about things in perspective, think about the events that have occurred that have led us to the point where we are now, because I don't think we can have perspective unless we understand that. And that's one of the things that I really try to include every day in everything I do, whether it's sports or news or politics or world events, geopolitical stuff. I really think we need to have that foundation, and I would urge people to educate themselves before they speak out on things, because if you don't have basic knowledge about what you're talking about, you're just kind of wasting everybody's time.
You're right on, brother. And again, we couldn't do it without the great people behind us. You heard the old saying, behind every great man, there's a wonderful woman or a great woman. We're going to remember our mamas coming up this weekend. We have our big show coming up on Saturday, 10:30, 11 o'clock on ABC 3340. It's called The Starting Lineup. You never knew who's going to be on the show. This week, we're going to have Stuart Rome, the Woodhouse Day Spa, who actually was on our show about 6-7 months ago. He's going to have some very special deals that you can only get by watching the show 10:30, 11 o'clock. So make sure you watch the show. Mother's Day is on Sunday. Our show appears on Saturday. And of course, you can go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com, their website, to get them. Women love the Woodhouse Day Spa. It's the best of the best. He's going to have some very special deals just for our viewers coming up on Saturday. So make sure you watch that show. And again, Need to Know, Keefer and Kurre, and of course, your show on Jocks 94.5. It was a very special place in my heart for that radio station. Spent many, many years there. So keep doing your thing, and we'll get ready to knock it out on this Saturday morning. Okay, brother?
Yep. Tony, I suspect that a lot of people listening right now have gone, oh, shoot, it's Mother's Day this weekend. This is good. This is the perfect solution. I have given gift certificates for spas and day spas and different things like this for many, many years. A lot of because it's really easier than shopping a lot of times. You can just click a few things and send it. But I have never, ever gotten any negative feedback from anybody I've ever given a whole day and shoot the works. This is your mom. Give her, don't just give her $100 where she can go and get her toenails done. Give her a $400 or $500 gift certificate. Go in there, knock yourself out, live in the glorious state that you deserve, and tell your mother how much you love her by saying you deserve to be pampered, you deserve to be thanked. Because Tony, without our mothers, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Hey, Kip, you're going to be great someday. I'll see you next week.
Yep, I can't wait.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.